In the midst of all of this, Kirk reached out to Van in a direct message on X. Hey Van, I mean it. I'd love to have you on my show to have a respectful conversation about crime and race. I would be a gentleman, as I know you would be as well. We can disagree about the issues agreeably. Now, that message was sent on September 9th. Van says he did not see it until the very next day after Kirk was murdered. Van Jones just wrote a piece about this for CNN.com and is here tonight. I mean, this is extraordinary. So this was received the day before he was killed.
Yeah. Look, I mean, we were beefing. We were going at it online, on air. And then after he died, after he was murdered, my team called and said, Van, he was trying to reach you, man. What? And what was he doing? Dialogue. Let's be gentlemen together. He says, let's disagree agreeably. So I'm sitting on this and I'm watching the whole country talk about civil war, censorship, justifying murder about this guy. This guy is reaching out to his mortal enemy saying we need to be gentlemen, sit down together and disagree agreeably. And the next day he's killed. And I've sat on it long enough and I just said, you know what? We're going to Memorial Weekend for this man. We disagree. Everybody knows we were not friends, okay? At all. But you praise the good when it's time to memorialize somebody. And what he did, and I didn't even know it, was good. He was not for censorship. He was not for civil war. He was not for violence. He was for dialogue, open debate and dialogue, even with me. Even with me.
It's a very different sounding message than mentally Ilhan Omar and communist socialist AOC issued about Charlie Kirk. So I commend Van Jones, even though I'm not a fan of him. He posted this on X. I can't wait to get your comments on this. The day before he was horrifically murdered, Charlie Kirk sent me a direct message on X. Unfortunately, before I could even respond, Charlie Kirk was killed, seemingly assassinated for the words he'd spoken. I've taken issue with many of those words, sometimes strongly, but never his right to speak them, never his right to express those views and then go home to his family. This is a sacred American value. Kirk's murder gives us all reason to come back to the table for dialogue. There's a rising tide of political violence that has already swept away his life and many others' lives from both the left and the right. Violence like this should compel people in both parties to turn down the heat, seek common ground, and look for off-ramps from the vitriol, as Kirk was doing with me the day before he died. We can choose to go the way of more violence, more outrage, and more censorship if we want to. But if we choose censorship and civil war, we cannot blame that choice on Charlie Kirk. From his last 24 hours, I have proof he wanted to go in a very different way. Why don't you tell mentally Ilhan Omar and AOC and Chuck Schumer and Eric Swallowswell and Hakeem Nobody's Dream? Why don't you say it to them directly, Van? This is the kind of common sense moderate Democrat that I grew up with, the 90s Democrat. The 90s, I've said it once, I've said it twice, I'll say it again. The 90s Democrat would be considered an outcast, would be stoned to death by this radical liberal party in 2025. We need more of this, and they haven't stopped. They've upped the temperature. Rashida Tlaib yelling at Byron Donalds about, fascism is an okay thing to say. Fascism is an okay thing to say after everything we've been through, after the worst political assassination in this country. This is the Gen Z's JFK moment, the worst political assassination since JFK. And what did he do? He used words. He used words. A lot of people, their lives were lost because of words. One person who died on that cross used words as well. And look what they did to him. I'm begging the sanity, the soul, the urge for some of you hypocrite Democrats to finally wake up and heed these words. Let these words burn like hot coal in your soul. This is the truth, what Van Jones is saying. Again, I'm not a fan of him. I'm not a fan of his network. There's a lot of problems out there with a lot of people from the left, but I appreciate the fact that he shared this message, and it speaks volumes about Charlie Kirk. I also want to share this. This post on X has been going viral from Elon Musk. He says, I know you are resting.
What does it mean to be an American? Is it an idea or a history, a shared history, or is it a skin color?
Well, I mean, you could go back to the original founding fathers, the Immigration Act of, I believe it was.
What does it mean to be an American? Is it a skin color or something else?
So there's the current idea of what it means according to, the Hart-Celler Immigration Act and, all this bullshit that you guys spew. But if you go back to the original founding fathers, they intended this to be a European nation for white men of good stock and character. Yeah.
So, can you show me, let me answer the question. Can you show me where in the United States Constitution it says that?
It wasn't in the Constitution.
It wasn't in the Constitution because they didn't believe it.
The founding...
You, sir, they did not put it in the United States Constitution. Let me answer another question. Let me ask you another question since you support. Allow him to have the mic. Let me ask you another question,
Founding
sir.
fathers wrote many
What
other
does the
documents
phrase,
other than the United
sir,
States Constitution, and they made it explicitly clear.
What does the phrase "e pluribus unum" mean? What does the phrase "e pluribus unum" mean?
Why is that relevant?
Because it was on every founding document and presidential seal from our founding, which means out of many, one. You, sir, and your ideology is not conservative. It is right-wing, identitarian. It has no place in the conservative movement, my friend. Get out of line. Get out of line. USA, 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 USA.